What's going on, everybody? Justin Schwarz here on a special drop-in edition of the DJs Guru live stream. We're going to do a special first look at an exciting new product that was just announced today by our friends at Pioneer DJ, the CDJ-3000. So, what is the CDJ-3000? CDJ, probably one of the most popular, well-known DJ acronyms in the in the industry for sure. But let's talk a little bit about it because there's been a ton of commentary I've seen already this morning. I have highlighted some questions that I would like to answer and kind of give everyone an understanding of what this is, who it's designed for, and why it's not necessarily a comparison piece. So the first thing is that the CDJ-3000 is a continuation of the legacy that they created 19 years ago with the original CDJ-1000, which was the original, actual working, trustworthy, reliable digital turntable that revolutionized the industry. It allowed DJs back in 2001 to take a CD, put it into a turntable-styled CD player and actually function and scratch and control it the same way that you would with a vinyl record. And from that point forward, Pioneer has never looked back and has continued to innovate, making reliable, heavy-duty equipment for the last 19 plus years. So how's everyone doing? What's going on, Mike? How you doing, my friend? Of course, I want to welcome everybody here to the DJs Guru live stream. We're doing a special edition today on the CDJ-3000, which just got announced today, as you see here. And we want to take questions. We want to talk to our audience about the design of it, see what you have thoughts about, see if I can answer any questions. And again, I want to give kind of an idea after speaking with someone over at Pioneer today, an idea of who this is designed for, because it's certainly not designed for the masses. So again, CDJ-3000 is really a modernization of the CDJ line, okay? So what is the CDJ? Essentially, it has become the industry standard, the most reliable media CDJ player within nightclubs and studio installations, and probably are on almost every rider of big name DJs in the world. So it's been a tried and true DJ tool for many, many years. And what they wanted to do was, after 5-6 years of the MK2 version, the Nexus 2 version of the CDJ-2000, they thought it was time to step it up, modernize it. And in the same way, I kind of compare it to the QSE K12 lateral move to the K12.2, where you looked at it and you didn't really see any major changes. They took away a little bit here. They added here as far as digital signal processing, and they kept it at the same price, which is the same situation now with the CDJ-3000. It's no more expensive. MAP on it is $22.99. And essentially, again, it's just a new version of the CDJ line. It's a lineage product, and it's always going to continue to evolve. And that's really what this is. It's an evolution of the CDJ. Most DJs don't use CDs anymore. Let's be honest, right? So it has the thumb drive capability. It has this amazing Ethernet connection now, gigabit Ethernet connection that if you're using crazy amount of CDJs, the CDJ-3000 Ethernet connection now would actually allow you to access media on up to 6 of the players with one thumb drive. Now, for people watching this, that may not be something that's that important to you, but there's a lot of DJs out there that is something that they specifically need. So that's one major advancement that they have on the CDJ-3000. Another major advancement is that they really did a lot of work with the microprocessing unit. And what that basically is that's the brain and the engine that powers everything electronically within the system. So by doing this, what it's going to do is it's going to help your tracks to load faster. And then when you're actually have the tracks loaded. It's going to make it easier for you to manipulate the screen. It's going to make it much more responsive, and ultimately, just like when you get an iPhone with a better processor in it, just works better. It's more functional, it's faster, it's quicker, and in that same spirit, the microprocessing unit was upgraded immensely on this new CDJ-3000. What they also did was they added in a very large screen, 9 inches. They made it much brighter, high resolution. It's a touch screen, and it is really beautiful and stunning as far as the way that it looks. So that was another major advancement that they had. And so that's what they did. They removed the drive, right? Because again, after speaking with so many DJs out there, they realized that CD drive is a cost that's really not needed anymore because no one's really using it. So what can we do? Take that cost and we're going to put it into the microprocessor, and we're going to build in the additional gigabit Ethernet connection, as well as the beautiful, larger, much more responsive screen. So they basically kind of reallocated the funds and the cost, kept it at the same price, and modernized it for today's working DJ that's out there, essentially with a thumb drive. So at the end of the day, we've gotten a lot of questions, and I want to definitely address those. So what's going on, Adam? How are you, my friend? Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate everyone who's tuning in today. Of course, if you have any questions, please drop them down below. Any questions on the CDJ-3000? Again, I did have a good conversation with Pioneer earlier today. I know what their message is. I know the ins and outs of this product right now, and kind of what makes it better than the original version. And again, why it's not necessarily a comparison piece. So I want to show you some pictures of the unit. So that's the first thing I want to do. If you haven't seen it yet, it's beautiful. So that is a side angle view. That's your front view of it. Got the hero shot right here, overhead. There's your back. So you have RCA inputs, you have a digital output, your Ethernet link cable is there, IEC power link, and then you have a USB connection, USB connector as well. And that's pretty much what we're working with as far as the aesthetics of it. And I wanted to kind of go into some of the questions that I had, that I've seen in a lot of the comments, questions that people have asked me already today, and we'll go through those now. So why is it a CDJ and not an XDJ? It has no CD drive, right? And in my post this morning, that was the first thing I said, yes, it's a CDJ without a CD player. Because again, an XDJ is not a CDJ in the same way that a Toyota Corolla is not a Toyota Camry. They're built under different criteria. They're built with a different price point in mind, and they use components that are relevant to that price point. So although you may think, oh, a CDJ without a CD drive is an XDJ, that's not the case. And in the manufacturing process and the components that they use, the build quality, all of that is very much different. So again, what they did was they took the CDJ, they did remove the CD drive, but they didn't change anything else about it. It's still built like, amazing. The build quality of Pioneer is, in my opinion, the best in the industry. And ultimately, it's really solid. It really is. So they took out the CD drive, and again, they improved that microprocessing unit. They're going to make it much faster, much more responsive, much more usable and functional for everyone that's going to be using them. And they improved the screen. They made it much more linkable as far as using the one USB drive and being able to pass that signal between all of the units. If you're using 2, 3, 4, up to 6 units, I realize most of the people watching this are not going to use 6 CDJs, but believe it or not, there are people that do. And Pioneer is designing their products for not the masses, but for a specific DJ, someone who may be in that situation. So in the same way that a lot of people looked at the DJM V10 and said, I'm never going to need this. That's okay, because Pioneer didn't necessarily build it for you And it's nothing against you. They love you. They love DJs everywhere. But they also have a following, an audience, and a customer base that has specific needs, not just here in the United States, but globally. Don't forget, Pioneer DJ is a Japanese company. So they're thinking worldwide. They're not just thinking about the United States. So when they do build a product, they're building it for the global DJ, not necessarily the United States DJ. So it may not check every box for you in the same way that other manufacturers may. And that's really what it comes down to. So don't be insulted by it, everyone. Pioneer loves you. It's just that, again, they have a specific clientele. You know, we talked about the QSE K12.2 earlier. They would have never put Bluetooth in it. And that was one of the questions that I was asked a lot. Well, why didn't they put Bluetooth in it? It's just not what their brand is. You know, Bluetooth to them at that time was still not reliable enough to be put into a speaker that was designed and is known to be one of the most reliable speakers in the industry. And in the same way, the CDJ takes on that same credibility, that same track record, loyalty, and trust. So they're not going to take any chances, and they're going to build the product in a way that's going to make sure that in 15 years, your CDJ-3000 is still working. I have, you know, seen CDJ-1000's original ones that still work perfectly like the day you bought them. And this is not to say that other equipment out there is not high quality, but again, Pioneer builds their gear for the long term, and that is really their main focus. So it may not have every bell and whistle per se if you look at it on paper, but when you hold it, when you look at it, when you touch and you feel it, and when you direct it towards the crowd that they're actually advertising and building these products for, it really makes a lot of sense. So let's go through some of the questions. I have a top 3 list of questions here. So we talked about why is it a CDJ, not an XDJ? Very simply, build quality components. I got a bug in front of me there. Sorry about that. Build quality components, and that's really what it comes down to. It's cheaper to make an XDJ-1000 MK2 than it is a CDJ-3000, which is why it's less expensive. So that's that. Okay, why doesn't it have dual layer functionality? And for people who don't know what dual layer functionality is, very simply, it's the ability to play 2 tracks off of one device. So SC6000 from Denon, the Prime 4, has the ability from one USB drive to actually play on 2 decks. Pioneer is very well aware of this feature. What they did was they polled a lot of their ambassador DJs that are really the ones that are using these types of products the most. The club DJs that are out there specifically only using CDJ products. And dual layer, although a cool feature and makes a lot of sense, it scared them a little bit, is the feedback that I would understand. And they just felt it wasn't needed. The DJs that they or using their equipment would prefer to have 2 players and have their hands on the decks of each player as opposed to playing, you know, 2 tracks from one deck. And it's simply that, you know, the reasoning behind it was that they simply didn't feel like their customer base that was going to be buying the CDJ-3000 needed it. So that's your answer for the dual layer functionality. Cool feature, definitely something that is worthy. And if that's something that is necessary for you, the CDJ-3000 is not the item for you. And Pioneer is okay with that, understanding that, you know, everyone has their own personal tastes and they're building equipment for a specific audience, and it may not speak to you. So all good. All right. So here's the last thing I want to talk about, and I'll kind of keep it simple with, but the SC6000 has, and I saw a chart, you know, and listen, I love Denon DJ. I'm a huge Denon DJ fan. I own Denon DJ equipment. I've worked on Pioneer many times. Anyone who knows me knows that I love both brands. I've used both brands. And really, you can't go wrong a lot of times either or. And there's just like this war sometimes where people think that they're literally competing against each other. And I don't necessarily think that they are. I think that they're really looking at their market, their audience, and they're building equipment and they're building items that are going to work best for their customer base. So when Pioneer comes out with a CDJ-3000, you say, you know, I don't need that feature, or I need this, why doesn't it have it? And it's $400 more. You know, the answer basically is that it's not for you, which is okay. And it's more because they feel they put more into their build quality, the components that they use, and different things like that in the manufacturing process to warrant the higher price, not to mention the reliability, the track record that it has, and the fact that anyone that you speak with about Pioneer gear generally says it's reliable. You know, I don't know anyone who has had major issues with Pioneer multiple times. You know, does it happen? Sure. But overall, there's a reason why the CDJ became the industry standard in nightclubs, is because they don't break. And you have DJs coming in kind of not always being the best on the equipment, and they can take a beating and, you know, keep going. So that's that. But the SC6000 has all this extra stuff, right? So ultimately, again, in the same way that, you know, I talk about RCF speakers where they're focused on their sound quality, right? If you look at the back of an RCF speaker, it doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles. It doesn't have RCA inputs, doesn't have Bluetooth. It doesn't have a lot of things that would look great on a feature list if you're looking at it on paper. But what they do is, instead of taking the cost to put all those bells and whistles in, they focus on the sound, right? And anyone who knows RCF speakers, and Electro Voice is the same way. QSE is very similar to this. They focus on the sound quality, not all the peripheral stuff. And I think the CDJ-3000 is the same idea. It's not a Swiss Army knife like the SC6000, where you can have one deck and you can do a whole entire party with it. You know, this is not that. And it's not necessarily, it wasn't designed to go up against the SC6000. So what they wanted to do was they wanted to keep the price the same. They wanted to make the improvements that they made, and they wanted to focus on the things that make the CDJ the CDJ. The build quality, the reliability, the functional ease of use, the familiar layout and feel. You know, they improved the jog wheel on this. It has an amazing new key sync and key shift feature that's going to lock in the sync and shift so you can harmoniously mix without having to do much thinking. A lot of really cool features on here. The jog wheel, again, was improved. It's smoother. It is feeling better. And that's the one thing that everyone always says about the CDJ, is the jog wheels are the best. So that's pretty much it about the CDJ-3000. Let's go to the comments here. Let's see how everyone's doing. Sean, what's going on? Did they come in white? As of right now, and just so you know, $22.99 matte. They are available at dealers now. So if anyone has any questions or needs any help, definitely feel free to reach out. I saw them listed on their website in white. Now, that doesn't mean that they're out there right now in white. I have to be honest with you, I don't know. Usually what Pioneer does is they'll offer an exclusive to a dealer. So you may see white down the road. Right now they're not available, but you might see it down the road available as an exclusive. But if you go on their website, pioneerdj.com, they do show a CDJ-3000 in white. What's up, Patrick? How you doing, my friend? This is something you can't have an innovator in, but I bet you if you could get an innovator in a CDJ-3000, you would do it. How you doing, my friend? I don't know what that is. It's spam. I got spammed. I just can't use dual layer. I've always used two decks, two hands. And that's, I think, the idea that Pioneer has as well. This is Patrick. Patrick's kind of an old school DJ, you know, and learned on turntables. And this is kind of the evolution that the CDJ has gone through. So they don't, you know, they don't want to go too crazy with their customer base that is probably just going to take their CDJ-2000NXS2s, sell them, and then buy the 3000 and put them in the same box or case that they have them in and move forward. You know, it's just a lateral modernization and improvement. And again, just a continuation and a lineage of the lineage of CDJ. So any other questions that we have? I don't want to keep this too long, but I think we went through it pretty well. There isn't much else to discuss, I think, as far as the differences and the improvements comparatively to the CDJ-2000NXS2. And I can tell you that, you know, it's going to be a great piece. It's never, Pioneer DJ never disappoints with their products. And again, don't be insulted that they don't make the product for you specifically. You know, not every dealer and manufacturer is going to be able to make a product that's going to make everybody happy. And Denon has done a great job recently with really listening to their user feedback and, you know, updating and trying to give the end user what they want. And that's something that is great about Denon. Pioneer listens as well, but they try to keep their lineage the same, and they're not always going to allow things to change as easily. So, you know, that's why both companies are available. We live here in the great United States, so you make the choice that works best for you. For me, both great brands. I don't think you can go wrong either way. If you buy an SC6000, if you buy a CDJ-3000, I mean, if you're buying anything right now, you're probably in a good place. So it's all good, and you know, it's really nothing to argue or debate about, you know, or get insulted by. It's just again, not a comparison piece. They didn't build the CDJ-3000 to go up against the SC6000 over here. They built the CDJ-3000 to modernize and continue the lineage of the CDJ series. And that's it. So we really appreciate you tuning in today. Thank you, everybody. CDJ-3000 is here. If you have any questions on it, feel free to drop comments down in this video below. Reach out to me directly. You know how to catch me. You can get me in direct message. Or if you have my email address, it's info@thedjsguru.com. Make sure you're subscribing to our pages. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram. And again, we really appreciate you watching today. Don't forget tonight, 8 o'clock, we're doing a live stream on So Now What, right? We're DJs. This has been a crazy year. What's the future hold? We're going to talk about that tonight at 8 o'clock with Jay Freeze, with Jason Longobardo, and Jordan Nelson. We're really looking forward to that. So we'll see you later. And again, thank you everyone for tuning in. Pioneer DJ CDJ-3000 available now at all your favorite dealers. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.